by Susan. Please go over the reasons you are sure the feds won't or can't separate us from our Bitcoins. I'm being told by older generation folks that it doesn't matter how high Bitcoin goes because who will ever give you cash for Bitcoin? And all countries that adopt Bitcoin will ultimately fail regardless. Explain it like you're talking to a golden retriever, but I will do my best attempt to explain to you very succinctly and looking also at the astrology why attempting to ban Bitcoin or the government by the government or the central banks is futile. So first of all, you have to realize that we have a generational problem. The baby boomers, who are the older generation, the ones who are in control running the show, they still head the institutions, they still populate the Senate. The average senator is 67 years of age. The average congressman is younger, but I still believe the baby boomers still even dominate that section. I think they're somewhere between the ages of, I think the average age of a congressman is about 58, 59. That would still make them a late baby boomer. So we have a generational problem. It's not so much where I'm against baby boomers. This has to do with the fact that this is a paradigm shift that's going on, and the baby boomer generation is the most vested in the postmodern world system that was put together with the Bretton Woods Agreement and the postmodern, post-World War II era of 401ks, mutual funds, index funds, etc., where there was massive incentives that were offered to them back in the 70s, starting in 1974, after the US dollar went off the gold standard. They shortly came out with the petrodollar system. They came out with the mutual funds. They came out with the index funds. They came out with the 401k. And there was a lot of incentives of young baby boomers who were now integrating into the society to proactively invest in these instruments. So they're the ones that have the most to lose if Bitcoin is successful. So they don't think that way, but they see Bitcoin as sort of like an aberration. They see it as an act by technological anarchists that almost borderlines on passive aggressive terrorism. So because they don't understand it, and when I say a majority, I know there's still baby boomers listening here who have invested heavily. We know one in particular that has an NFT. He actually launched his NFT and it's doing really well. So you're going to see a lot more. A lot of baby boomers are going to still coming in, but by the majority of people saying that to you, Susan, are people who are either the baby boomer generation or even older, the silent generation. So you got to keep that in mind. A majority of them, and those Generation X, people my age, 1963 to 1980, are those who work either for the banking system in some capacity or the financial investment industry. So they are, brainwashed, if you will. And even CPAs who are not up to the tax code, they don't understand this. We have judges, we have lawyers who do not understand crypto. So you have to realize that this is like, we're like in 1955 and you discovered rock and roll, and there's only one radio station that plays rock music between 9 at night and midnight, before midnight. So for 3 hours, you get rock and roll music once a week, and it's on a Sunday when nobody's listening to the radio. And that was the case. And then all of a sudden, Elvis Presley shows up. Your whole world is rocked, and the rock and roll revolution, which would eventually morph into the counterculture revolution, would commence. But in that time, you have to remember, from 1955 all the way until 1964, rock music was considered fringe. It wasn't considered a multi-billion-dollar global industry. And we could see it happened pretty quickly. And when the Beatles arrived, it went from, a billion-dollar industry to $1 trillion industry. And that's what's happening right now. So you have to remember that Bitcoin is not $1 billion global asset. It is $1 trillion global asset, and it's growing at an exponential rate. They do not understand that. So getting that established first is very important to get the mindset that we are talking about a global revolution. Bitcoin is the Beatles of this global digital, that's not a digital revolution. It is the leader of the revolution, but there's nobody leading it. There's nobody leading it. There's no government that can ban it. And this is a very important point. So a couple of reasons why. First of all, Bitcoin has no center. There's nothing that the government can do to attack it. There's no single organization behind it, no person that controls it. It's on a public ledger. Bitcoin is nowhere and everywhere on the internet. Bitcoin and transactions don't go through any central clearinghouse. It doesn't go through any bank. It doesn't go through any government. There's no way a regulator that can stop people from sending money to each other peer-to-peer, or from downloading Bitcoin wallets and sending each other Bitcoins to each other. So that's the first thing. And if the United States government were to block all the websites that people could download Bitcoin wallets from, new ones would come up, and some people would compile their own wallets from source code. So Bitcoin is like BitTorrent in that respect. If they shut down the internet, people will just send each other Bitcoin via SMS on their phones. And if they shut down the electricity or electrical supply, people will use solar and battery-powered wireless solutions. So there's no way they can stop Bitcoin. And a ban by Bitcoin by the government or central bank will have the same unintended consequences of making it even more popular, especially amongst a demographic that had previously never heard of Bitcoin. So there's a few reasons. Another reason is the United States does not control the internet, right? We did basically control the internet until they handed it off to until Europe, the great Obama. So they can't turn the internet off. They're also, the internet, by the way, is only 6% of the internet. The dark net is 96%. It's actually 94% of the entire internet. And you can easily get a Tor browser and go on the dark net. No one would know. No one would be able to track you, not even the NSA. Everything would be encrypted. It would work slower, but you would be able to do virtually the same thing. You could have your Bitcoin wallet. You would go peer-to-peer, and people could pass Bitcoin to each other. Now, the other thing that you're sort of stuck in the argument, and the point I've been trying to make in the GTA group with Bitcoin, and more importantly in the crypto astrology group, is the fact that we will hit the point where people will sell their house a year from now, even sooner, and they will say, well, my house is $1 million. If you're going to pay me in cash, it's going to be 1.2 million if you're going to have a mortgage back sale payment. In other words, if they're getting financing, third-party financing. But I'll tell you what, if you give me Bitcoin, it'll only be 800,000 because I want the Bitcoin. So this is what's happening now. It's not happening at the scale, but people now are accepting Bitcoin. Most importantly, the largest internet payment service in the world, PayPal, is accepting what? Bitcoin. So, it's like almost too late for the government to stop this. This is too big of an issue. So PayPal is now accepting payments with crypto, and that crypto will be converted automatically to fiat, or people can accept the crypto. So this is all being taken care of. The other thing too is you have to remember that Wall Street now owns 87% of the crypto. When I say Wall Street, I'm talking about financial institutions. Financial institutions worldwide own 87% of the $1 trillion market capitalization asset base of the most secure digital asset in the world, which is Bitcoin, not Ethereum. Bitcoin. Ethereum has a lot of security issues still, which goes beyond the scope of what we're discussing today. The other thing to remember is that Bitcoin has 75 million people who have wallets and is growing at a rate of 4 million a week. 4 million a week are buying Bitcoin. They have a wallet, and that continues to grow exponentially at the rate of growth. At the exponential rate of growth, it will hit 1 billion people worldwide by 2024, January 1st, 2024. It cannot be stopped. It will not be stopped. Here's the thing. Nobody wants dollars anymore. People want the Bitcoin. People want the crypto. If you're going to make a large scale payment to another country, you can do it instantaneously with no taxation, no immediate taxation, no regulation, no delay. Everyone's moving to Bitcoin. And that is why. So here's the thing. The fact of the matter is that you'll never be swapping your Bitcoin to a bank. That is insane. Why would you do that? What's going to happen is everyone's going to come to you and say, you own some Bitcoin. There's very little Bitcoin in the world and you can't even get it by after May of 2024. You probably won't be able to even buy it. You'll be offered by many organizations throughout the world, financial institutions saying, can we borrow your Bitcoin for 90 days and we'll give you 24% interest and you can get cash flow from that. So that is the revolution. And that's something that your baby boomer and GI generation folks and silent generation friends and family members and skeptical Gen Xers who are probably vested in the industry don't understand. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to be open to it. And besides, when you look at the chart of Bitcoin and you look at the fact that at the rate of growth of Bitcoin by 2032, it will have a market capitalization equal or greater than all the money in the world, all the gold in the world, all the silver, all the companies in the world, including the derivative market combined. It's growing that fast.
The full presentation of this webinar is available in the Global Transformation Astrology membership at gta.williamstickevers.com.